Good morning. It was actually just a couple weeks ago, I was listening to XM radio, and all of a sudden I realized we're coming to the end of another decade. It'll be 2020. It means that 20 years are down in the 2000s, which is pretty cool. Had some conversations about Y2K back in 1999, thinking the world was going to fall apart because of the calendar on computers. So it's just so interesting to think back over those things. But as I thought about that, I thought about just this topic of goal setting. What 2020 look like for you, and then specifically for dads. What does it look like for 2020? What is it, as a dad, you'd like to accomplish? What is it that you'd like to do for your kids, with your kids, how would you like to see your kids grow, those kind of things. And so just want to take a couple minutes this morning and just share a couple thoughts I had on that. I think probably one of the most valuable tools that I've used over the years in different things at the end of the year or the end of the season is just to do a year in review, to be encouraged, to look back over the year, hopefully, to see what God has done, to see the opportunities, the experiences you've had, the neat times you've had with your kids. And so I think the first thing as you look at goal setting for 2020 with your family and with your kids is just to look at 2019. Write down what were your top 3 highlights. What was your top highlight with each of your kids, experiences that you had with them, memories that you had with them. What went well? What were some of the things that you felt like as a dad you did well? And this isn't a time to beat yourself up. And so don't, your tendency is going to want to be able to think of all the things that you did wrong, all the things, opportunities you didn't take. But I would really encourage you just really stay on the positive side of this. And you can recognize it's not going to hurt to say, hey, I didn't do everything that I hoped to do as a dad. But just take a few minutes, write down some of the highlights, some of the things that you are thankful for in 2019. And then I would encourage you really to kind of take that a step further as you wrap up the year and just either write a note or sit down each of your kids and sit down your wife and say, hey, here's one of my highlights of 2019, and I want you to know I love you. I'm thankful for this memory. I'm thankful for the time that we got to spend together, and just rehearse that. Take time celebrating what God has done in the last year and what that's meant to you as a dad, and it'll speak words of life into your kids too, knowing that you enjoyed them, knowing that you had fun with them, knowing that that was a good experience for you. So for the first thing is just review the year and take a minute to journal, take some time to just reflect on that. And then as you look at 2020, don't think you're going to accomplish the world or tackle the world or take over the world or take your relationship from 0 to 100 in 3 weeks with your kids. Just think of something small with each kid that you want to start to do. One of the things that I started doing this last year, and not super consistently, but I love the Bible app, the YouVersion Bible app, and so one of the things that I'll do is I'll start a Bible plan with one of my kids, and I'll go through that. It won't be long. We'll get through it, not typically in the days that they recommend, but we'll get through it. And then I'll move on to the next kid, and I'll just keep rotating through them, and it's been a way for me to be in the Word with them, to teach them, to grow with them, to teach them the habit of being in the Bible. So not hard, not difficult, but it's been a win this year. And so I'm really thankful for that. But think about each of your kids, where you're at with them, and what you'd like to see more of. And so maybe you've got a teenager who is in their bedroom most of the time, and you're thinking, okay, I want to each day go in their room for 10 minutes and just spend time with them, or 3 days a week. Or maybe it's once a week, I want to go do something with that kid to make sure that we're getting some time to connect together. And so when you think about things that you want to do, don't think huge. Think about 1 or 2 little changes that over time can make a huge difference. I read a book recently, the name of it is slipping me, but it's about the compound effect of doing things. And so one little habit, one little change with each kid can make a huge difference in your relationship with them. So think of something small and begin to move forward with that. And so first thing is review the year. Second thing is think through each kid and 1 or 2 things that you want to be able to accomplish with them this year. And then the third thing that I would think of to do is actually think of a specific experience that you would want to have with each child this coming year. Again, it doesn't have to be that you're going to go to Rome and you're going to tour the Colosseum. It can be that we're going to go skiing this year at the local ski slope. Or it could be as simple as we are going to go on, I want to go on a 10-mile hike, or I saw this in my kid that they really enjoyed doing, so we're going to go to they love science, so we're going to go to the science museum together. So think of like one experience, you're like, I want to do this year. Because I know for some of you dads, maybe you've struggled with being a workaholic, you've struggled with just having too much time away from your family, and so you really are starting at 0 or 5, and you want to move that needle this year. And so don't think too big. Just think of a small change that you can begin to create, and then write it all down. Write it all down so that you can look at it throughout the year. You can share it with your wife and ask her to talk to you about it. You can share it with a couple guys that you're friends with and say, hey, can you ask me about this throughout the year? Create some accountability to begin to move in that direction. So don't make it complicated as you look at creating goals for your family and for your kids in 2020. Keep it simple, keep it doable, and then celebrate what God's doing. Celebrate the wins that you're having as you seek to set goals and accomplish those for your family. Have fun with it, to think of fun things to do with them, and because realize a lot of these goals are about creating great connections with your kids that will carry you well into their adult years, so that you can continue to move from being the dad who's directing everything to the wise sage in their life who walks alongside of them through life as they make decisions and as they have big moments in their lives. And so remember, just review. Think of 1 or 2 things for each kid that you want to do. Think of an experience you want to have with each kid. Write it down and then share it with somebody. And then go do it and celebrate what God has done.